situation where you are a woman in leadership and you start to feel that your emotions were starting to go from 0 to 1,000 really fast, maybe you were frustrated, perhaps disappointed with something that someone said. Maybe you were angry, or maybe you're on the verge of tears. Let me know in the comments below. Because if you're watching this video, this is a fantastic day for you to stay tuned until the end because I'm going to share with you 3 strategies that I use with my clients in a one on one setting to help them control their emotions as women in leadership. Why is this so important? The way that you handle yourself when you are feeling very emotional as a leader can make or break your leadership. So, you want to make sure that if you are trying to elevate how you're communicating and how you are showcasing and showing up as a leader, which is why I know you've watched this video, then you want to make sure that you have this specific topic covered in your skill set because situations are going to happen, ladies, that will cause you to become mad, upset, emotional. And so you want to be able to control that. And if you've ever struggled with this, perhaps you are in your leadership role, maybe you're new to leadership, maybe you are in the middle or at the end of your leadership journey, and you feel like, I struggle with trying to control myself and control my emotions, then reach out to me for a strategy session in the description below. Be happy to have a very brief call with you and talk about where you are and where you want to be as a woman in leadership. Now, my audience that I target are women in leadership. However, on my YouTube channel, I have a lot of other individuals, such as men in leadership, that are part of my group here. And I welcome men and women in leadership alike because I know if you're watching my content here, you are trying and wanting to elevate yourself in terms of how you're communicating as a leader. And I welcome you and I appreciate you for being here and looking forward to engaging with you here on the channel. So subscribe if you want to be that leader that stands out from everybody else. This is the best channel for you to be at. I'm going to share with you my over 20 years of experience as a C-suite executive, a director, a manager, and an executive coach and a public speaker that will automatically fast track you and make you stand out from everybody else in their career. Now, if you're watching this portion of the video, you are more than likely watching the replay, possibly. So this is a live video. So give me just a few moments. Let me say hello to everyone as they join. In YouTube, there's usually a time when people join the video. I want to say hello, and then we'll get started into these strategies that can help you start to control your emotions as a woman leader. Okay, so we have BOGO Podo Pope. Let me go back and say that again, friend. BOGO Pado BNY. I am sorry if I completely did not say your name correctly, but welcome, friend. How you doing today? Styles Girl, hello. How you doing today? Styles Girl says, hi, just joined. How's it going? Styles Girl, it is going fantastic now that you are here. So thank you so much for being here today. Let me all know where you are joining from in this big, beautiful world today. Gabriel Mendoza, hello. Welcome. Hope you're doing well today. Let me know where you all are joining from and let me know, have you ever felt like your emotions were getting out of control, out of hand at work, in your business, in a meeting, as a leader? Let me know in the comments below because today I'm going to share with you a few strategies, 3 specifically, that will help you to be able to start controlling your emotions under pressure as a leader. This happens oftentimes, and I know people struggle with this. So today I want to share with you some insights that will help you not to struggle with this as much. So the first strategy that I share with my clients in a one-on-one setting when they are struggling to control their emotions. And as I mentioned, the audience I work with in a one-on-one setting are women in leadership, but I have a lot of men in leadership and women in leadership that are part of my audience here on YouTube. So I'm here to support everybody, but specifically, we're going to talk about how we can help you control your emotions under pressure. Are you ready? And control your emotions as a leader. So the first is that you want to make sure there's a couple things you have in line. Before I go into it, I saw something pop up on the chat. Gabriel Mendoza says, teacher, I did not know you live stream show. So I'm not so I'm not a teacher, believe it or not. I get that a lot on YouTube on my lives that I'm a teacher. By trade, I'm not a teacher. I'm actually an executive coach and a dentist, but I focus on executive coaching. That's my main role right now. But I'm not a teacher, but I am here to help you. So Styles Girl said, "Are you a therapist?" So Styles Girl, I am not a therapist. However, I am an executive coach. So there's a difference between a therapist and executive coach. I'll share with you what that difference is because actually I was asked this question, I believe it was last week, I believe. So what the difference between the two, and that sometimes people think they're the same, is that one, a therapist is going to help you uncover your past. They're going to go through your past and your emotions and kind of talk to you about how you're dealing with things and what you're struggling with. An executive coach like myself, I am here to help you move forward quickly, not move forward like a turtle. We're going to move forward like the rabbit. So I help you move forward faster. So I'm more forward thinking, more positively in terms of my approach. This is what executive coaching does. It's very a positive experience. Sometimes in therapy, it can be somewhat not as positive because maybe you're dealing with something in the past and they have to bring it up. But for working with an executive coach like myself, I'm here to help you move forward faster, but I'm helping you to move forward in a very positive way. So we focus on, for instance, for Styles Girl, this will be example. If you are at a point in your career, for instance, in this situation where we're talking about how to control your emotions as a leader, then my role would be, how can I help you uncover what is making you upset? So when those situations come up, how can we plan ahead so you're not upset and you control your emotions as a leader? That is forward thinking, forward movement in terms of coaching. We're very forward focused. What's the goal? What's the big vision you have for your life that you want to accomplish sooner rather than later? And we get an action plan together to help you be able to accomplish that goal. So if you have any additional questions, let me know. I have a strategy session in the description below where we can have a brief conversation and just talk about where you are, where you're trying to go, and I'll let you know if I can help you on your journey. Hope that answered your question. Megan Mecca, hello, welcome, friend. How you doing today? Megan says, "I love your glasses." Well, thank you for the heart emojis, and I appreciate your love for my glasses. Thank you so much, Megan. Let me know where you all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today. Okay, Gabriel Mendoza says, "Oh, you look like my teacher." I do. I look like your teacher. Wow. Okay. Well, when you see your teacher, you'll probably tell your teacher, "I saw someone that looked like you on YouTube live last night, live streaming." So I don't know. You have to talk to your teacher about that. Okay, Styles Girl says, "That's very interesting. Love seeing educational streams." Absolutely. That's what I'm here to support you with. We're going to talk about a very good topic today in terms of how to control your emotions as a leader, but I want to make sure that I engage and talk to you all in the chat. Okay, so Gabriel Mendoza says, "I'm not saying, I'm saying a fight. I'm not saying, I'm saying a fight. Do I go help?" I, I don't, let me make sure I am reading it correctly. Explain to me, Gabriel, if you can explain to me what you mean specifically. Are you seeing a fight? Is that what what you're referring to? Let me know. I want to be able to definitely answer your question. Okay, so Styles Girl says, "Do you only do these sessions online, or do you like have an office somewhere?" Okay, great. So Styles Girl, so great question. Well, one, this will be a great opportunity for you to subscribe to the channel. I talk about topics specifically as it relates to communication and really communicating at a higher level than your peers. So I'm the person that people come to that want to elevate in their careers, they want to stand out from everybody else, and they maybe have hard situations. I deal with the very complex situations. So I've been in very friendly and contentious situations. And so in terms of my sessions are online for the most part. I'm based out of the United States. And so my sessions are online or locally, depending on what state you're from or where you live. I'm based in the Sunshine State of Florida, but that's where I do my sessions. I do them virtually in terms of my one-on-one clients, which are women in leadership. Now, my audience here on YouTube, I have men in leadership, women in leadership. So I support everybody here on my YouTube channel, but my one-on-one clients are women in leadership like yourself. And in terms of my live streams here, I go live here on YouTube Tuesday through Friday, and we go through various topics about communication, leadership, how to handle your emotions under pressure, how to think on your feet, how to maintain eye contact, how to develop your executive presence, how to have hard conversations, all those very complex situations that people really don't talk about, and give you very good strategies to work on as a leader. And so I talk about that on my channel. Sometimes on live streams, I know you said that this is a lot. You like to see the educational live streams. Sometimes on live streams, we'll go in different directions, depends on what people want to talk about. For instance, yesterday, we were talking with Sean Weber and the forensic accountant about a couple topics. Sean Weber mentioned specifically about he wants to become a millionaire. So we talked about millionaires being able to develop additional streams of income. We've talked about Bitcoin. We've talked about confidential conversations. We've talked about cars. We've talked about dropping off kids. So the lives are really fun. And you have to find a really good YouTube channel that can have a bit of diversity to do that. I will tell you that specifically for me, I've done live streaming so much this year that YouTube has invited me to be a part of their live streamer research panel, which I'm a member of now, actively engaged in their projects. And so, because I've done so many live streams, YouTube has noticed I've done live streams. And so, I'm a part of their program for their research panel for the next year. So, I'm helping to shape the live streaming experience of users on YouTube. So, this is something I enjoy doing. This is one of my favorite things to do. And I'd appreciate to have you here present and ask me any questions you have as relates to elevating yourself as a woman in leadership. All right, so Gabriel Mendoza says, I said there's a fight. Who do I go help? The person on my left or the person on my right? Okay. So, Gabriel, that's a really good question. And I'll go into that and then we'll go into how to control your emotions. So, Gabriel, that's a really good question. So if you're in a situation where there is an altercation happening and there's some type of fight, I personally would not be able to advise you to say, go help the left, go help the right. I don't know the dynamics. I would say from your point of view, and as an executive coach, if you have a situation like that that happens, think of it this way. What is the best thing that you can do right now? Would it be to jump in the middle or would it be to call for help? And you have to think of it that way, because if you jump in the middle, then you're going one side or the other, trying to split it up. That's something you have to determine. Do you know the people that are here? Is this just random people? Are these people you know? You have to understand that dynamic. And then two, what happens if you get hit in the face? That might not be too nice for you either, because who's going to pay for your medical bills? Exactly. A lot of times people don't think that, they think with emotions, Gabriel. They'll think with emotions, and that's what I'm talking about in this channel. You have to be able to control your emotions when those situations come up, because sometimes it may not be best for you to jump in, if it's not somebody, unless it's like a family member or something like that. But sometimes it may not be the best course of action to jump into just the middle of a fight. You might want to be the person that calls for help, depending on what's going on. So that's what I would recommend. I would say, what do you want to happen in this situation? What is the best role for you right now? Are you going to be the savior, or are you going to be the person that's going to call for help and protect you and your family? Just think about it. Let me know what your thoughts are. Okay, so Gabriel Mendoza says, yes, I'm single 5 right now. And yes, so just what I mentioned, Gabriel, in terms of how I would handle that situation. Okay, Styles Girl says, I definitely need help with eye contact. It's so awkward for me. So if you have strategies, that would be amazing. Oh, Styles Girl, you need to subscribe to my channel today. Absolutely. There's so many things I can talk about eye contact. I will share with you my strategy, Styles Girl, for eye contact is something I have completely said. And I'll share it with you now, and then we'll go into how to control your emotions under pressure. I appreciate everybody being patient with the topic. So for me, Styles Girl, eye contact is critically important. I'm going to share with you what people are afraid of, what most people are afraid of, and I'm going to tie it into eye contact and why it's so important for you to master this skill. Most people are terrified, afraid of public speaking. People don't like doing that. Silence, that awkward feeling, as you mentioned, and making eye contact. These are the top three, I would say, communication fears that most people have. Now, let's think of this in a positive way from an executive coaching perspective. If most people, and this is what my humble opinion is, if majority of the people in the world, a lot of them are scared of speaking in public, scared of silences and awkward pauses in a conversation, and they're scared of making eye contact, how much more will you shine compared to everybody else if you can master one, two, or three of those type of communication fears? You will automatically stand out from everybody else. And so this is what I do on my channel. I help people to elevate how they're communicating as women in leadership and as men in leadership who are in my audience here on YouTube. So I teach my audience to do that. So specifically for eye contact, I have my analogy. And for those of you who are watching the replay or perhaps watching this live, bear with me because this is Styles Girl first time here. And so I need to tell her about what I talk about for eye contact. My eye contact strategy, to give you some insight, is the strategy of a cowboy. Now, depending on what country you're from, you may know what a cowboy is. I'm based out of here in the United States. I'm an American. And we have cowboys, right? We have cowboy movies. And so, what happens when this time, when the cowboys are having a bit of a conversation or maybe a disagreement? They go outside and then there's a stare down, right? There's a stare down with the Cowboys. And I use this analogy, Styles Girl, all the time because this is what I teach my clients in a one-on-one setting and we practice it. So the Cowboys are staring at each other and they're staring at each other. They're looking, and then something happens where somebody doesn't make it. Well, as it relates to making eye contact, and the strategy I tell my clients in a one on one setting is I want you to use the cowboy. And the cowboy means when you're trying to make eye contact with somebody, you need to make eye contact. You don't want to be the person, you don't want to scowl like a cowboy and squint your eyes and kind of look at them. You don't want to do that. You just want to make eye contact like you're looking at them. But, this is the key, Styles Girl. You do not want to be the first person to do what, my audience? Look away. You don't want to do that. When you're trying to make eye contact and set your presence in a conversation that you are showcasing your executive presence, you're showcasing yourself as leader, you have to be the person to maintain eye contact and not look away first. Why is this important? Because if you're the person that looks away first, you're the person that's saying, I'm uncomfortable with this. And what I do with my clients in a one on one setting, I teach them not to be uncomfortable. I teach them to be the person that actually does not look away first. This, by far, is probably one of the most powerful moves that anyone can make if you are trying to elevate yourself as a leader and you're trying to go to that next level in your career. Maybe you're trying to earn more income, you're trying to make a bigger impact in the world, in your business, in your country, in your state, in your community. Eye contact is critically important if you are trying to showcase your executive presence. It is so important. So that is my strategy for you. This is something I talk about in a lot more detail on some of my videos, Styles Girl. So if you take a look at my lives, that's where most of the action is on my channel because I'm live so much. So if you take a look at my live streams, there's a lot of information you'll gain as it relates to those advanced level communication skills that will help you. So I've been featured on the news. I've given a congressional testimony here in Florida State. I've interacted with congressional leaders. I've worked as a C-suite executive, and I have contributed to some news publications. So I've been in very friendly and very contentious situations, which is why I'm able to give you these advanced strategies from my very humble experiences that I've had to help you be able to communicate like a person that no one has ever seen before. Because if you can communicate and really master eye contact, as I mentioned, majority of people are uncomfortable with eye contact. So you will stand out automatically from other people if you can maintain eye contact. So just keep that in mind. That's my strategy for eye contact. The cowboy analogy, I mentioned this all of the time on my channel. And I know I may be telling you about it, but implementing it and doing it may be a little bit different because it's a little bit more challenging to make eye contact with somebody, right? But this is something I teach and work with my clients on in a one-on-one setting to help them. And we practice eye contact. We practice this because this is a skill you absolutely want to have if you are a leader. I hope that answers your question. All right, so let's see. Gabriel Mendoza says, I have a question. Do I punch my bully or do nothing? I, as I mentioned, Gabriel, it just really depends on where do you want to be at in the situation. Do you want to be the person that is going to be potentially caught in the altercation and be a part of it or not? It just depends. For me personally, I I have other things to do, so I wouldn't necessarily be involved in it. That's just me specifically. Gabriel Mendoza says, "Well, I want to protect my friend, but he's getting punched by a bully." Well, then I would say you have to make that decision in terms of where do you want to be. If you want to protect your friend, then protect your friend. Then do what you have to do to protect your friend. But just keep in mind, you have to make that decision in terms of what's going to be the best place for you to be at in this particular situation. But I appreciate you mentioning that. That's a very good topic. Okay, Styles Girl says already subscribed. Well, welcome, Styles Girl. So glad to have you here. Feel free to ask any questions. For my audience specifically, many of them already know this. If you have topics that you want to learn more about, especially as it relates to communicating, leadership development, controlling your emotions under pressure, and all those type of very challenging situations, let me know in the comments below. I will do a video just for you, Styles Girl, and give you a shout out on it and talk a bit more about it. Just let me know what you want to learn more about, and I'll do a video just for you. More than likely, it will be a live, or depending on the topic and how much depth that's with it, I may do a recorded video. So just let me know if you have anything else you want to learn more about. Okay, so Styles Girl says, "Thank you. That is amazing advice. I do have to go, unfortunately, but I'll join next time when I can." Absolutely, Styles Girl. I'm glad you're here. And welcome, friend, to our group of amazing, exceptional leaders that communicate at a higher level than their peers. So, love to have you. And I'll talk a bit more about how to control your emotions. You're welcome to look at any of my lives when you have time. And welcome. Really glad to have you here. All right. So, we've had some great dialogue so far. I know we're 21 minutes into the live. I appreciate everybody for hanging in there with me, but I always enjoy communicating with the live audience that's here because they're here, they're present. I want to make sure that we're having a very good dialogue and we're interacting. And this is what live streaming is about. There is the educational component of it, of course, that I have in my live stream specifically, but I'm here to support you all and to be here and to answer your questions and to engage with you also. I'm here really to help you all on your journey. That is my mission here, to help you communicate at a higher level than your peers. And any questions you have, I'm here to answer them for you. So the first strategy, as I was mentioning a little while ago before we start talking about a couple other topics, in terms of being able to control your emotions under pressure as a leader, the first basic strategy that I tell my clients to know and to really start thinking about when you're trying to control your emotions and you're just trying to figure out, well, how do I do it, is to think about what are the issues, the topics, the conversations that trigger you. What is it? There are certain situations that will trigger you. Maybe it's someone potentially giving you a deadline that is tomorrow, and the deadline they told you need to work on it at 5 o'clock at night. Maybe that's a trigger. You may just completely just lose it, when something like that happens. Perhaps it might be something that someone says or something that someone does. What is it that triggers you from an executive coaching standpoint? I would want to know, what are the topics, what are the situations that when you hear it, it just makes that switch go on in your mind and you will automatically start becoming emotional or very, very frustrated. What is it? Everybody, every leader has one. They do. Everybody does. Now, how we manage it and how we control it as leaders a lot of times depends on your level of expertise, how much experience you've had. But everybody has a trigger. Everybody has a trigger. Just find out what your trigger is. Why do you need to find out what your trigger is? Because we need to go into the next strategy, which is to plan ahead. Now, I know oftentimes people wonder, how do you plan ahead when it means to control your emotions? How is that even possible? Sometimes what happens, leaders, your emotions just come out of nowhere. Maybe someone comes to tell you something and it just catches you off guard. And you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't even deal with it. And then you get really upset. Well, how can you plan ahead? Majority of the time, there's typically some type of a notice. There's something that you know that's going on. And you want to plan ahead accordingly. For instance, if you're planning on having a meeting with someone and you know in this meeting they could talk about this, they could talk about that, then you absolutely want to make sure you're planning ahead. Make sure you know a few things before you go into any meeting, because this is how I see a lot of leaders get caught off guard. And sometimes we don't know what's happening because we're leaders and things just get thrown into our lap, so to speak. But if you're having a meeting with someone or someone says, "Hey, I need to talk to you about this," if you're owning your business or maybe you are a leader in an organization, ask them, well, what specifically do you want to talk about? And I know that may sound very direct, but this is something that I would ask. I would want to know, what is it that we're going to talk about? You can ask it in a very polite way and say, "That's great. I'm really excited to speak with you. Tell me a little bit about what's going on so I can prepare." And that's a good way for you to be able to get some kind of idea in terms of what does this person really want to talk to me about in your meeting. So you can start planning ahead. So if you know that a topic might be around something related to finances or with your role as a leader, then you know that you might want to take a look at maybe the finances for your department and make sure you have something in mind in terms of what you want to talk about. There's usually some type of heads up that you have, or you have some type of intuitive sense about what your conversation is going to be about. Now, if you don't, and you don't have it, then this is something you still have to plan for. And this is why knowing your triggers is really important. So, planning ahead, specifically as it relates to controlling your emotions, if you don't know what the topic is about, because sometimes when you do, you just have to you have to know what your topic is going to be about, but you have to take a few minutes to play it, to prepare for it. But let's say if you don't, you have no clue, no one's told you, you have no idea what this topic is going to be about. The first thing that I would recommend for you to do as it relates to planning ahead now, remember, strategy one is knowing your triggers to control your emotions as a leader. Second is to plan ahead. We're talking about planning ahead right now. So, in planning ahead under that category, listen first. That is the best way for you to control your emotions as a leader. You have to listen with a very empathetic and unbiased as possible mindset when you're in that situation where you're trying to control your emotions under pressure. Why? Why is this so important? It's important because if you listen, this gives you time to process what is being said to you. If you listen intently, it gives you time to process what's being said. It allows the other person to speak and feel like they're being heard, and then the other part of it is it allows you to be more calm. If you are quiet and you're listening to what is being said, this gives you almost an opportunity to just calm down in your mind. So you can say, okay, this person is crying, this person is telling me this person is telling me that. If you just listen actively, of course, of course, make sure you're listening, then this is something that will help them to calm down a bit and help you to calm down, so when you respond, then it sounds like a response that is more measured in terms of its delivery, and you're not highly emotional. So this is something to keep in mind. So then now we'll go into step three, my third strategy, which is something I want you to keep in mind, especially if you're trying to control your emotions. But I saw something come up in the chat. So Roblox Trader, welcome back, friend. How you doing today? Hope you're doing well. Roblox Trader says, "I'm sorry I wasn't able to join your streams." Oh, Roblox Trader, it's all right. They're live on YouTube, and they're always made public as soon as I'm finished with the lives. I typically will make them public. So you're more than welcome, friend, to just watch them whenever you have time and just learn as much as you can. If you have any topics, specifically Roblox Trader, that you want to learn a bit more about, especially as it relates to communicating at a higher level than your peers, so you stand out from everybody else as a leader, and leadership development, then let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to do a video just for you, do a live stream for you, or do a recorded video, just depending on the depth of the topic, and I'll give you a shout out in the video. You just let me know any videos you watch and you have a topic you want to learn more about, then let me know. I'll help you. Okay, so Roblox Trader says hello, thanks. Absolutely, you're so welcome, friend. And Roblox Trader says, yeah. Okay, fantastic. So we talked about two strategies so far to control your emotions, control your emotions as a leader. For those of you who just joined, welcome, welcome. Glad you're here today. The first strategy we talked about is you have to know your triggers. You gotta know your triggers, what's gonna make you upset. Because if you know what's going to make you upset when those conversations come up, you can develop your talking points in terms of what specifically you want to say about this topic. Number two is you want to make sure that you plan ahead. So we just had a long conversation about planning ahead. If you are just now joining, you definitely want to check out the replay in terms of what planning ahead looks like. And third and finally, that I want to share with you in terms of a strategy to help you control your emotions is has to do a lot more with your mindset and how you're thinking about it. Many times people tell me, especially my clients in a one-on-one setting, is that they just get so upset, right? They get so upset when someone says something or they just can't control their emotions. Well, you can control your emotions. It's just how you control your emotions. And one of the things I want to encourage you to think about when you have those challenges that come up and you feel like you're not quite sure how you want to control your emotions is that this is more than likely a leadership test just for you. Now, I know you may think a leadership test, I'm done, I'm finished taking tests. No, we have tests every single day. And how you're being tested and how you respond on your test is going to make you either stand out as a leader or is going to take away from you being a leader. And you want to be on the former side of this, not the latter. So understand that there's a test. Many times when people get really upset, their emotions take over, right? Their emotions take over. They're either angry, they're disappointed, they're sad, they're crying, all of the above. And if you take a moment and say, what am I supposed to learn from this situation? If you take a moment and just ask yourself that question, then it helps you to put it in a perspective of what am I supposed to learn, or what kind of test do I need to pass here to help me grow to that next level. I genuinely believe that oftentimes as leaders, we face challenges that come up, and some of those challenges, majority of them, even though they seem painful and hard and complex to the point where you just don't want to do it anymore, they are intended to help you to grow in some type of way, some type of way. And so if you think of it that way, what am I supposed to learn from this situation? How am I going to pass this test? Then that helps you to think about how can I communicate in a very calm way to this person or individual that is testing me, that is upsetting me, but still be able to pass this test and showcase myself as a leader. So I saw something in the chat. So Roblox Trader says, "I'm so sorry so much, but I have to go get a haircut. But if you're still live, I will join by." All right, no problem, Roblox Trader. Enjoy your haircut. Hope it is fantastic. You have a nice new look. So feel free to just watch. I'll probably be finishing up here in a few, but you're welcome to watch at any point in time. So have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining. But this is what's really important. A lot of people don't talk about the other side of being emotional as a leader, is that there's something that you can learn from this situation. We all can learn something. And I found, even for me personally, when I go through very, very big challenges or really difficult situations that can bring up emotions for me, that may be triggers for me personally, when I think about what am I supposed to learn from this situation, or how can I pass this test that I'm being given unexpectedly, then I think about my responses and what I say and how I say a bit differently, that allows me to take the emotion out and to respond in the way of a leader, of an executive, of someone who is being the person that can handle life under pressure and can control their emotions under pressure too. Now, I hope that this is very helpful for you all. There's a couple videos on my channel that would provide you with some additional insight as it relates to this topic specifically. So we talked about controlling your emotions. There's several videos here on my live channel that talk about controlling emotions under pressure. So we talk a bit more about that. If this is something that you maybe are struggling with and you want to learn more about, then let me know. Contact me for a strategy session in the link below. It's in the description below, especially if you're a woman in leadership. If you're my one-on-one my target audience that I work with directly in terms of my clients, then reach out to me. I will absolutely help you be able to have a conversation. We'll figure out where you are. Maybe perhaps you know that you need to work with your emotions. You know that sometimes you get really emotional and it's hard to hide it, or it's hard to control it. You don't necessarily have to hide your emotions, but how you deliver it is what's important, especially in a workplace setting or in your business, or etc. And if you're struggling with this, it's okay. Majority of leaders struggle with this at some point in their career. And a lot of leaders, believe it or not, that are C-suite executives like I was, or directors or senior VPs, they still struggle with how to control their emotions. So don't feel like this is something like you're behind, or this is something that you feel like you should have already mastered as a leader. We all have to learn, and we all are continually learning every single day. And so if you're really ready to go to that next level in terms of how you're communicating, not only verbally but non-verbally, maybe controlling your mindset and how you react to different scenarios that come up, reach out to me. Contact me in the description below. Sign up for a strategy session, and we will talk about where you are, and we'll talk about how we can work together to help you get to that next level. So I hope this information has been helpful to you. If you have any topics that you want to learn more about, then absolutely let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to do a video just for you and give you a shout out and provide you with as much value as I can. Please learn from my over 20 years of experience as a director, as a C-suite executive, as a public speaker and executive coach, to fast track yourself so that you can stand out as a leader that you are amongst your peers. So let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Remember, I go live Tuesday through Friday, so I will be back tomorrow to talk about another topic, and I hope you all have an amazing day. Bye for now.